Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. And today I have three things I'm going to be talking about. The first one is going to be the song analysis. Then I will talk about the word of the week, which is gratefulness, and then my lessons learned for the week as well. So let's jump into the song analysis first. I have Someone You Loved by Lewis Capaldi is the one I just wanted to talk briefly about. And this is a song that, when it was written, was sort of about grief that Lewis Capaldi had for a passing grandmother. But then he said it took a long time for him to finish the song. And so what's interesting about this is how you can take a song that was for a specific person, but then made to be more generic so that it can apply to many different, in this case, someone you loved. And so being able to take a song that has some very personal feelings or personal things in it and then translate that into a more broadly, we'll say, applicable or broadly interesting topic. So I wanted to bring that song up because I thought it was a song I have heard quite a few times lately, and then I was thinking about playing it. So I may also have coming up soon is perhaps a short tutorial on that. It's a fairly simple song to play, so that could be kind of fun. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the things that I learned for the week. And for this, the first thing is that I changed my guitar strings a couple of weeks ago on my classical guitar. And since then, I haven't really played it at all, which is kind of strange, but I've been playing instead my steel string guitar. And I discovered that I tried to tune the classical guitar with the brand new strings on it. And I just couldn't quite, it was saying it was in tune, but the strings just didn't feel right. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. So I decided to actually find different strings to put on it. And when I put the new strings, another set of the strings that is exactly how, when I bought the guitar, the strings that it had on it. And it just, it just was not quite still working like I expected. And I see someone is in the chat, so thanks for joining. Glad you're able to catch me online today. So sorry, distracted for a moment. So what ended up happening is that I discovered on my classical guitar that I was a whole octave too low on tightening the strings. So I had to really crank all the strings and do them much, much tighter. And then I was able to get it to the right, we'll say, octave, and then it seemed to be better. And it took a little bit of time for the strings to settle out. But yeah, I'll admit it, I felt kind of stupid that I just didn't think, oh, maybe I should just make the strings tighter if they seem too loose and get it in tune. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I think I was more concerned about accidentally breaking the strings or something like that. And that was just kind of silly now that I think about it. So anyway, if you're going to be changing your guitar strings, make sure that, if they are kind of floppy and loose, but it says it's in tune, go to the next, keep going higher and higher. And obviously, you don't want to be in a situation where you're snapping strings. But it should become kind of obvious. And I think if I had had another guitar right next to it with correctly, we'll say, tightened strings or tuned strings, I think I would have figured it out sooner. But I thought I was just confused with the other kind of guitar. So the last thing I wanted to talk about on my learnings for the week is that I really kind of caught myself being more excited about writing songs again, and just sitting down and only focusing on that. And that was kind of a fun, I guess, realization that I did really sort of miss that. I've kind of been doing a lot of other things instead of writing songs. And so I'm excited about this winter season when there's more indoor time to focus on doing that. But I think it did kind of make me realize that sometimes we don't pay attention to those things that we really enjoy and we kind of forget about them. So make sure that you keep that in mind going forward. The next thing, so let's jump into my word of the week, which in a strange way, I feel like I should have talked about this during Thanksgiving. The word of the week is grateful. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I was thinking about the things that, in this time, especially in the US, there's a lot of commercialism around Christmas, holidays. And I just was kind of concerned about getting caught up in the need for more things. And I thought, well, maybe I need to step back and think about what I'm really grateful for, and that try to separate that from this commercialism. And so I wrote down a few things that I was really grateful for. I think, as a musician, you think about, some people think, oh, I want to get this next guitar, I want to get this new equipment. And you kind of get caught up in this idea of the next new thing. And I think where I'm at right now is I'm pretty happy with the equipment that I have. And it's just one of those things where I just want to learn and use what I have and not buy new equipment. I think I'm pretty happy with just my classical and steel string. And so I think I'm going to be good for a while. But it does make you think, do I really need that, whatever it is, new guitar, new tuner, new stand, or whatever it is. So yeah, trying to think about that. Then the next thing I wanted to talk about as far as being grateful is around, so I talked about this stuff concept, but I think being happy with the skills that you have and being able to be comfortable with where you are in your learning journey, that, hey, actually I'm not so bad because I can play a song or I can play a few chords. And I think this kind of goes into, sometimes we get down on ourselves of not being the best, or we always want to be better, which is nice to be able to strive for better, but also maybe reflecting on where we are. I actually thought about where I was last year with my guitar. I hadn't even bought a guitar last year at this time. So the comparison from last year to this year was, last year is 0. And now I can play a lot, generally a lot of different songs with common chords, and being able to, now I'm just starting to do finger style, but I've done the finger style strumming, but doing the finger style different type of picking structures. So working on that. But I definitely think we should all kind of step back and think about what's really good for us, and what makes us feel good. And sometimes just looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, we're actually pretty good and we need to feel good about that. And then the last thing on being grateful is being able to have the time. So hopefully people have time to be able to put toward this type of hobby, and being grateful for that time that we have. My husband had a close friend pass away this week, and that was, I think it was hard for him to deal with that. And I think, that person just ran out of time. And if we're still here and breathing and, can walk and talk and pick up a guitar, then, these are things that we really need to be grateful for, because we still have the time to get better and enjoy our music and to live life. And so think about that this holiday season, that some people are don't have this opportunity. So take the opportunity that you have today and not wait till tomorrow, because you may not have tomorrow. So that is my tips and exciting things for the week. I hope that everyone has a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week. If there's anything that you would like me to talk about in a future live or in one of my weekly videos, please make sure to add your comments below. Appreciate you, and thanks for joining.